welcome back inside the studio, everyone, for another edition of the CrossFit Games Update Show. I'm Tommy Marquez, joined at the desk by Pat Sherwood. Today we are talking the teams and what should be another exciting year of the Affiliate Cup competition. And we're going to start today by showing you guys the top qualifiers coming out of regionals. These are your regional champions. Starting at the top, organized by points, you have CrossFit Fort Vancouver, nearly perfect at regionals with 595 points. Followed by Team Back Bay out of the East with 580 points. They're tied with Functional Strength from the Pacific at 580. You have to go all the way down to the fourth spot before you see reigning champion CrossFit Mayhem. They're in a tie for points with NorCal and the Wasatch Brutes at 565 apiece. And then the rest of the champions from the regionals going down from there. And Pat, taking a look at these lists of teams here and knowing some of the athletes on this roster, it's hard not to look at this and think this is going to be the best team competition yet.
Man, the Affiliate Cup is serious business. That level has been raised every single year. They have risen to the occasion. Director of the Games, Dave Castro, has become more ingenious as to how to make sure everyone on that team is capable of anything. They're all super fit athletes. Long gone are the days of, well, I'm the gymnast, I'm the weightlifter. Then on top of everyone being well-rounded, we saw the worm for the first time this year at regionals, usually a games toy, so the teams we're sending forward have been tested like no other.
They're going to certainly be well prepared. And one team in particular that has shown us that they are prepared for the games, the two-time reigning champs, CrossFit Mayhem. On that list we just saw, they weren't the top point scorers at regionals, but what are your thoughts on their chances of a three-peat?
First of all, how dare you, okay? They're still Mayhem, all right? I mean, they're going to get it done. Two-time affiliate champions, okay, sure, didn't score the most points, but there were only 6 events. 5, they had top 3 finishes. They had 2 event wins. They've got the 4-time individual champion, Rich Froning, at the helm, who, do you know why he has only, one friend on Instagram that he follows? Because the man has no friends. He trains 24 hours a day just for destruction of other teams. Of course, that's a joke. But point being, if you're hanging around that environment, you are maniacally focused day in and day out, and I don't think anyone else in our community knows what it takes to train and win like Rich. And the competition was stiff out there. You had 417, OC3 Black, Timberwolf, Maximus, so Mayhem did just fine.
And they certainly have a pedigree unlike any other. So if it's not Mayhem, there's a couple other teams that are nipping at their heels. Who's another team from this list that you think can maybe upset the champs?
That's a very tall order given everything that I just said, but I'm going to go with CrossFit Fort Vancouver. These guys and Invictus are the only 2 affiliates that have qualified for every single team competition since we had one, and they are looking for their 2nd Affiliate Cup championship, and that'll just be them, Mayhem, and you if they pull that off. Now, they were first place out of the West Regional with 595 points. To put that into comparison, that's 54 points more than CrossFit Mayhem. And just to twist that knife a little bit further, there were 6 events at regionals, and Fort Vancouver beat Mayhem's team on 5 out of 6. So they're legit for sure.
Ooh, that is a great stat. But outside of this list that we just saw, there are a ton of teams that we're not talking about. Who's a team that you maybe think can make some noise as a dark horse once we get to Madison?
I'm going to go with CrossFit Balance. This is a team out of Washington, D.C. Christy Adkins, who's a 7-time individual games athlete. She's on the roster there. They had an event win. They had 2 second-place finishes, only 1 placement outside of the top 10, scored 491 points, so they were right on the edge of breaking into that 500 mark. I think they have a legitimate shot at doing very well.
And their performance, although they didn't win at regionals, they had 12 labors, they had revamped, some very talented teams there, so I think their score is much more indicative of their capabilities at the games. But now the landscape of the team competition changes year to year, so sometimes we see some new teams that kind of show up as rookies and can make some noise this year. Which one team that's going to the games for the first time that you think could bring the heat?
I liked Ocean State's Finest. I'll be honest, I have no idea how they're going to do, but what I like about them is when I watched them at regionals, they were a bunch of fighters. The competition out there in the East was insane. They've been clawing for a few years now. 2015, they were 9th at regionals. Last year, they were 11th, and now they clinched that 5th spot. 5 out of their 6 finishes were top 5. 5 out of 6. That's how competitive that regional was, even for them to get the 5th place spot going forward. And you think they had Milford out there, Back Bay, CrossFit Reebok won. So to be in the mix of those teams and still make it to Madison, they've got the goods.
Gotta love an underdog in a final,
yeah.
Right? Well, we'll be bringing you guys some more team coverage later on in the week. We'll be Skyping with James Hobart. He'll give his thoughts to us on the upcoming team competition as well. If you guys haven't already head over to Reebok.com/Pick'em give your choices for the Reebok Pick'em competition. You get to pick out the top 10 women, the top 10 men, and the top 5 teams. And the person that possibly gets all 25 of those right in the correct order, well, you're going to get $1 million, just a cool 7 figures.
Love it.
To take home with you. And even if you don't get it correct, the top scorers are going to get a wonderful prize package that includes gear, includes all sorts of stuff from some of our sponsors at the games as well. Tons of ways you guys can tune in. Once we're on site in Madison next week, you can go to games.crossfit.com. We'll have the live stream there. You can go to cbssports.com. You can go to the CrossFit Games Facebook page. Every night of competition, we're going to have a nightly recap. That's 2 hours of coverage from CBS Sports Network. And then on Saturday, we're going to have a live hour coming to you guys on Saturday, August 5th from 12 p.m. Central on the big CBS network. So a ton of ways that you guys can tune in and watch the CrossFit Games for free. That's going to do it for us today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. For Pat Sherwood, I'm Tommy Marquez, and we'll see you guys covering the individual side of the competition.